Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good, and in this case, also keeping you safe. And that's why we're honored to have with us our City Current partner, Robyn Householder, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau, serving Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. How are you doing?
Jeremy, it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having us back.
Well, we get to talk about the good and also, too, keeping people safe from scams. So I always love having these conversations because they are extremely informing and important. And also, too, we've had a chance to interview some recent award winners with the Spark Award, the Torch Award for Ethics. And so we'll talk about that, too. But let's start building a marketplace of ethics. Give us some background on the BBB.
Sure. So BBB has been around for, believe it or not, more than 100 years, and it's always been focused on advancing trust in the marketplace. You know, unfortunately, at the turn of the century, advertising at its best was fictional. One of my personal favorite ads is asthma cigarettes safe for children under 6, which was actually a real ad that ran in the 1920s. And so the good news, what BBB did was a lot of very honest business owners got together and said, you know what, let's create some self-regulatory best practices that businesses will commit to and that we will then hold others accountable to when we see problems. And so we are a member organization. We are blessed in this area in Middle Tennessee to have more than 4,000 accredited businesses that commit to our 8 standards of trust. And through that membership, that helps us then do the work for really the entire marketplace. So whether it's serving consumers, whether it's educating seniors, whether it's helping businesses with their marketing, really it's all about making businesses the best they can be so that the consumer has the very best experience.
And so with that comes in, you see things that a lot of people don't see. You see a lot of the bad practices, and you can help educate consumers. And also, like you said, hold the businesses accountable, create the transparency, create the marketplace of trust. So let's talk about some of the top scams that you're seeing right now, because we want to be able to inform our listeners and viewers. So go ahead and talk about some of the top ones, and we'll dive into them a lot more, obviously, in detail.
Absolutely. Okay, so the top 5 scams that impacted the United States and Canada throughout 2024, first and foremost was cryptocurrency. The second, believe it or not, was employment scams, so we'll go a little deeper there. Sadly, romance scams continues to make the top 5, and that's a very large ticket loss for those that fall victim. Online purchasing scams just continues to be an ongoing battle. And then last but not least, but always the one most folks understand and know about, is home improvement scams.
Let's go ahead and dive in with the cryptocurrency, because obviously this is on the newer side, but it's obviously so prevalent. So talk about what the cryptocurrency scam entails, what that looks like.
Sure. Well, you know, unfortunately, scammers go where we are, right? And so more often than not, folks are looking for ways to invest their funds. Cryptocurrency can be very, very lucrative, but it's also a little complicated to understand. You really have to do your homework. And so what's happening is you're going to get an unsolicited email, text, maybe a pop-up ad when you're doing research online, and they're going to offer you an opportunity to make a lot of money in a very short period of time for a very small investment. And the average loss on this is only about $600, but the number of people that losing is astronomical. And so in this situation, it's very much a buyer beware market. You know, this is your potential savings. And so we want to make sure that you take a moment to do your research. Are you doing business with someone that is truly a legitimate broker? Have you done your research to see what their track record is in the marketplace? And absolutely never, ever give private information to someone that you've quite frankly never met. And so most of this is happening online. And so once you identify that there's a problem, guess what? You're never going to find them again. And so just like any other investment, find a trusted advisor, one that has a well-established track record, one that you can see is committed to not only their community, but also continued education, because most of those financial planners and financial brokers have to continue to learn about what's going on in the marketplace to ensure that they're not misleading you. So again, about a $600 loss, but also way too many of them. This was the #1 scam perpetrated throughout North America.
Yeah, and so doing your research, protecting your privacy and your accounts and all of that, like all of
All
it,
the things.
and exactly all the things. And
All the
this will
things.
tie back into general tips too, but go ahead and carry it into the employment, because I think this is one that's really sad when you talk about people preying on those that are looking for jobs.
Sure. Yeah, so for, whether it's summer employment for kids home from college, extra money during the holidays, that's what the scammer is going to take advantage of. And so, unfortunately, with AI and all the other amazing design tools out there, it is not hard to recreate an Amazon logo or a Walmart logo or any other major company whose name you're going to recognize. Now, the first thing you want to realize, though, is that it's very rare for an employer to offer you a job that you haven't actually applied for. And so where you've maybe been searching employment opportunities online, that scammer is going to be able to know that through AI, and then you're going to get an unsolicited email making you a job offer. Now, two things happen with that. What do you do when you apply for a job? You give that employer a lot of private information. And so what that scammer is hoping for is to potentially take that private information for future identity theft, as well as potential financial theft. The other thing is that you always give them your social security number. And so that's certainly not something that you want to give a stranger. But the other concern that we have with these scams is that oftentimes they will ask you to make a payment for some sort of training material, testing process before they can offer you the job. Well, again, legitimate business owners are never going to ask you to give them money for you to work for them. And so again, it's this, again, that buyer beware, stranger danger situation. Don't assume you can get a job with someone that you've never spoken to. If they are talking about a job, go directly to that legitimate organization's website and see if that job posting is there. So if it's an Amazon job, go to Amazon. If it's a Walmart job, go to Walmart. If it's a local restaurant job, go to that local restaurant's website and see if that job posting exists, and then apply through their vehicle, not through an email, and most definitely not through a text.
Yeah, and even I'm thinking too, like find out, is that person who's reaching out an employee? Like, once again,
Right.
do your research. And it's sad that you can't take anything for granted these days. Like, you gotta really step up and be vigilant, and be a steward of your own opportunities, but make sure that everything is actually what it says it is.
Well, and Jeremy, to that point, let me just expound for just a minute. There was a time in our life when we weren't expecting instant gratification, but we've gotten used to that. We get deliveries a couple hours after we place the order. We get a response from a company. More often than not, it's automated. And so when we get these kind of communications, we're used to assuming that I'm going to get a quick answer, as opposed to taking a step back, doing your research, checking with a friend, checking with a relative. Does this sound right to you? So, we always say time is our greatest ally in protecting ourselves. We just need to take a couple of minutes to be sure.
Carry that into the romance scams, another one that's really sad.
It's very sad. Unfortunately, this typically preys on those that are lonely, those that are home by themselves. There's a variety of ways that these romance scammers can get to you. We have a local consumer through her Fitbit app. A romance scam occurred and she lost over $180,000. But more often than not, what's happening is you're going to what you believe is a legitimate dating site or chat area. You start a conversation with someone, and the very first signal to know that there's stranger danger is that they ask to start communicating with you off that site. So legitimate dating apps are going to monitor communications in an effort to keep you safe. So if this potential love interest says, hey, what's your email? What's your phone number? What's your, do you respond to text, whatever? That's the first sign that this is stranger danger. Stay away from it. Typically, once they have gotten you off of that dating app site, they're going to start trying to isolate you from your friends and your family. Let's keep this romance private until we really know where it's going to go. Because they know if you talk to your friends and you talk to your family, chances are their radar is going to go up and they're going to say, are you sure? Who is this really? And then typically whether it's a few weeks or a few months in, they're going to have some catastrophic event that they need you to financially help them support. So maybe it's an illness in the family. Maybe it's trouble flying in to see you and meet you for the first time from overseas. And whatever it is, they're going to milk you in essence for cash. But what's really scary is once they get you off that site, chances are they're probably going to send you a link. For example, hey, here's a song I really think you'd enjoy. And you click on that link. Well, unfortunately, what that link does is it downloads malware to your smart device, be it your phone, your iPad, your laptop, whatever. And now they can track your activity. And so now they have private information about you that you never gave them. Maybe it's your children's name. Maybe it's your banking information. Maybe it's your password to your bank. And so once they have that, now they're going to start threatening you to give them more. And then it's going to be more, and then it's going to be more. One of the victims we recently helped, this person was actually threatening that he was going to kill her children if she didn't continue to keep the cash flow going. Well, what we know is more often than not, these scams are being perpetrated from overseas. So if they tell you they're living in Atlanta or they tell you they're living in California, they're not. And so we really want to make sure, especially seniors, know that they do talk to their friends, they talk to their family about these relationships, that make sure that they're not keeping them private so that they can be protected. And in many situations, what we recommend folks doing is if by chance you have clicked on a link from someone like this, immediately take that smart device, that laptop, to a trusted company locally that can scrub it and ensure that all of those tracking bots are removed.
Yeah, this is so helpful. Talk about online purchases, talk about the home improvements. Those are two other big ones.
Sure. So online purchases, I mean, let's be honest, we all probably do a lot more shopping online than we do anywhere else anymore, right? And so again, because of AI, scammers know exactly what you're looking for. We've all experienced that situation where maybe you're looking for a new pair of shoes for one of your kids or a particular Christmas gift. And lo and behold, the next time you open up your email, you have all the pop-up ads for those shoes or that whatever. And so what they're going to do is they're going to offer you something that quite frankly is too good to be true. Maybe you've been trying to buy your first Mac computer and those are going to be $2,000 or $3,000 and all of a sudden you see an ad for $800. Or maybe you're trying to buy a French bulldog, which is the number one bulldog or the number one dog in the US right now. They're very expensive, several $1,000s, and yet this particular breed is offering you a dog for $500. Right? So again, it's always that too good to be true scenario. Sadly, once you give them money, the product is never going to arrive. The dog isn't real. And you're never going to be able to find them again. So unfortunately, we say once you've sent that money over, just consider it a donation because you're not going to see it again. So similar to those employment ads, those employment job scams, do your homework. Go directly to that company's website. See if that product is there. See if it's on sale. If it's related to a new pet, find a local breeder that you can actually see the dog, play with the dog. Is this really a dog? Because this is a 16-year commitment, right? We've had 2 military families at Fort Campbell lose upwards of about $4,000 combined because they both bought dogs online that just simply weren't real. And so one of the things we also say to do is that when you see an ad like that, you see a picture of a pet, do a reverse lookup and see where else those pictures are showing up. And more often than not, it's probably in hundreds and hundreds of places. And so it is not legitimate.
Once again, you're saving the day.
Well, I even had a board member who wanted to buy a puppy for her father because, she had had this particular breed for years. The puppy finally passed away. They're not easy to come by. And she said, "Oh, I'm so excited. I found one online." I was like, warning, warning, warning. And we did exactly what I just said. We did a reverse lookup of this adorable little white puppy. And I think we found it in about 400 other locations. So clearly the puppy doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Last but not least, as you mentioned, home improvement scams. Of course, this is the one that, we call them storm chasers. They are the best form of opportunist, unfortunately, delivering the worst outcomes. You've had rain, you've had electrical damage, you've had wind damage, flooding, whatever the case may be. They're going to come to town and offer you opportunities to repair your homes way below the market value. They're going to knock on your door unsolicited. They're going to tell you that that they'll give you a better deal if you don't turn it into your insurance company. Basically, all the non-traditional ways that a really reputable contractor will work with you. So, a couple things we want to remember about for consumers to remember. One is if it's unsolicited, that's a yellow light. That means caution. Doesn't mean legitimate businesses don't sell door to door, but not as many of them as they do nowadays as before. And so if you get that knock on the door, check it out. Look, ask for a business card, ask for ID. Is the company logo on the truck? Chances are it's not. What's the license plate? Is it from Tennessee or is it from another state? Of course, that's a big light, the big caution light. The other thing is legitimate contractors will give you their costs in writing. They will do a written proposal. They're not going to pressure you to make a decision today. They're going to give you time to do your research, maybe get competitive bids to be sure that you're getting the best quality for the best price. Scammers are not going to do that. They're going to want you to make a decision right now, and they're going to be paid right now. So again, time is your greatest ally. Take the time to do your research, check them out, get everything in writing, and never give anybody money that you haven't verified.
Touch on tariffs. I think this is an interesting one for businesses and something that I didn't really see necessarily out there, but it's a big scam going on too.
Well, I think unfortunately, a lot of people just simply don't understand them. And so they're getting communications about paying a fee to protect them from tariffs or buying a product that's going to help them budget for tariffs. It's really all across the board. And the reality of it is you as a business owner, unless you're importing from overseas or you as a buying consumer, tariffs are not something that you need to touch, feel, and quite frankly, even understand unless you believe that it's going to impact the way you're spending money. We've had sales pitches where it's like, well, if you buy the car today before the tariff goes into effect, you're going to save several $1,000s. Again, chances are not true, and legitimate auto dealers are not going to do that. So scammers have a tendency to take advantage of whatever is going on in the marketplace now. So with the storms, because it rained yesterday, with tariffs, because it's in the news every day. So those are the things that you need to understand, that whatever's happening in the marketplace, you've got to be ultra sensitive to keeping yourself safe from.
Let's go ahead and switch over and talk about the good, because as I mentioned, you've got the Torch Award for Ethics, you've got the Spark Awards, you've got events, you have a lot of amazing good things to share. So talk about some of the good in the events.
Well, we just spent a lot of time doing what we like to call denouncing substandard behavior. But one of the other values and the focuses that we have is celebrating marketplace role models. We want to make sure that good guys get recognized for doing things the right way. And of course, that's our Torch Awards for Marketplace Trust. This is a very, very highly regarded award where companies are recognized for simply doing things right. They're doing it honestly, ethically. They have great employee relations, great customer relations. They stand behind their product. They live up to their promises and they live their mission. And they're also really committed to serving the community that has served them so well. So those call for nominations at the beginning of every year, and we typically award those in April. So stay tuned for more on that. Spark Awards is for the young entrepreneurs. These are for companies that are either under 3 years of age or the owner is under 35 years of age. We all know the first couple of years in business is very difficult. And when you have a company that's willing to, from the get-go, from day one, they put in play doing business correctly. They have a great employee handbook. They have a process for handling disputes. They're being honest in their marketing efforts. We want them to be recognized. And what I love most about this particular award is it also comes with cash. So because what new small business doesn't need a little extra money? And so we're also going to give them a check to help get them through the next 3 years. And then our small business grants is an emergency grant program. There's been a lot that goes on in our marketplace, whether it's a natural disaster, illness, or any company can face something that they simply don't have control over, but can negatively impact their business. And they're a well-established business. We want to help them out. And so we do process small business emergency grants throughout the year, typically giving companies up to several $1,000s for the grant. It's a very simple process for them to follow. But the way that we fund those grants is through our biggest event of the year called Songwriters Night. This year, it's going to be at Marathon Music Works. We're super excited about it. I will tell you that the biggest complaint we get on this event, Jeremy, is that people don't want to leave. And so that tells me they're having a great time. We always bring in top talent. We have some really exciting performers this year. The food is fun. It's a very casual event. Come in your jeans, and just know that you're going to be entertained. We're going to have some great items that are both on a silent auction and a live auction. And all of those proceeds are going to help support the small business community when things come up that they just simply can't overcome by themselves. So join us.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up with where we go to join you. So website,
Yes.
social media, where do we go to learn more? And where do we get involved?
BBB.org. BBB.org is the only place you need to go. It's going to take you right to our Nashville website. There is an events page. There is a news page that you can find out the latest scams. Our scam tracking tool is there so that you can see what's going on in your community as well as report scams to us. Super easy to find. So reach out.
Well, Robyn, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.